The Gospels are just packed with stories of healing and miracles. But then you get to this one, and it is so bizarre, it just makes you stop and go, wait, what is really going on here? So let's dive in.
Okay, so picture this. You're face to face with the Son of the Most High God, a legion of demons, and they make one of the weirdest requests in the whole Bible. They're about to get kicked out, right? And their only plea is for a herd of pigs. Yeah, pigs. And believe it or not, that strange request is the key that unlocks this entire incredible story.
So to really get why they'd ask for that, we've got to understand the place and the person at the center of it all. It kicks off the second Jesus steps out of a boat and onto a shore that, well, pretty much everyone else tried to avoid. Right, so this isn't your familiar Jewish territory. Nope. Jesus has crossed the Sea of Galilee, and he's in a place called the Decapolis, basically a federation of 10 Gentile cities. We're talking the edge of the Roman Empire here. It's culturally, spiritually, a long, long way from Jerusalem. This is a region where Roman customs, pagan worship, that was all just normal. Which, by the way, totally explains why there's this massive herd of pigs around, an animal that's a big no-no under Jewish law.
And as soon as his feet hit the shore, he's confronted. And it's not by some welcoming committee, let me tell you. It's by a man who is the living picture of absolute human degradation. A man just living on the very, very edge of existence.
I mean, the Gospels paint a truly horrifying picture here. This guy wasn't just an outcast, he was a walking force of chaos. He lived among the tombs, among the dead, a naked, tormented soul whose strength was so supernatural that chains, shackles, they were completely useless against him. He's just screaming day and night, cutting himself with stones. He was so violent that he literally shut down a local road. Nobody could pass. This was a life just utterly destroyed by spiritual oppression. So what happens next? This confrontation, it's not just about power, it's about identity. See, in the ancient world, if you knew someone's true name, that gave you a kind of authority over them. And it's the demons who speak first, and man, they get Jesus' identity exactly right. They call him Son of the Most High God right off the bat. They're immediately acknowledging his divine authority. They know exactly who he is, and they are terrified. Their big plea is, don't torment us, which, by the way, Luke's gospel clarifies is really about a fear of being sent into the abyss, which was seen as this holding place for the worst of the worst spirits. So then Jesus just turns the tables on them. He asks for their name, and the answer he gets, it's chilling: Legion. Now, the crucial thing to get here is that Legion isn't just a casual word for a lot. No, this is a specific, technical, Latin military term. It's a word reeking of occupation and imperial power. And just to put that in perspective for you, a Roman legion, that was up to 6,000 soldiers. So this one guy, this single man, was hosting an entire occupying army of spiritual darkness. This wasn't some minor problem. This was a full-scale invasion of a human soul. And that brings us right back to our central mystery. Why on earth would this massive force, Legion, beg to be sent into a herd of pigs? Well, the answer isn't simple. In fact, scholars see a few different layers of meaning all happening at the same time. Okay, so first off, you've got the stunning visual proof. Think about it. The chaos that follows, all those pigs just stampeding to their deaths. It's this tangible, unforgettable demonstration of the insane, destructive power that had been crammed inside that one man. It made the invisible horror visible for everyone to see. It was stone-cold proof of what Jesus had just saved him from. And then you've got the theological symbolism, which is fascinating. Demons are called unclean spirits, right? They're drawn to things that are spiritually and morally impure. And in Jewish law, pigs were pretty much the poster child for unclean animals. So it kind of makes sense. The demons, desperate for any physical body to inhabit so they can keep on with their destructive nature, they beg to enter a host that's, well, fittingly unclean. But there's another layer here, and this one is powerful. It's a political undercurrent that the original audience would have found impossible to miss. See, this wasn't just an exorcism. It was a thinly veiled commentary on the Roman occupation. And the evidence for this is really compelling. First, you've got the name itself, Legion, a military unit. Second, the Greek word they used for herd, agile, that wasn't the usual word for a herd of pigs. It was actually used for a company of military recruits. And here's the kicker. The emblem of the 10th Roman Legion, the one stationed right there in that region, was a wild boar, a pig.
I mean, the imagery is just so powerful. You have an occupying force named Legion, whose symbol is a pig. It gets cast into a herd of pigs, and then that whole herd charges like soldiers down a cliff and gets destroyed in the sea. For a Jewish audience, this would have been an immediate callback to the story of God drowning the Egyptian army, another occupying force, in the Red Sea. The message is clear: this is about liberation.
So the miracle is complete. The man is finally free. But hold on, the story isn't over, not by a long shot, because the reaction of the community, well, it reveals a pretty deep and troubling truth about what we humans tend to value and what we choose to fear. Remember that herd? It numbered about 2,000 pigs. This was not a small loss, folks. This was a devastating economic blow to the entire local economy. And yet, in Jesus' eyes, the value of this one man, even in his completely broken state, was worth so much more than all 2,000 of those pigs. The whole event basically forces a choice on you: economic stability or human restoration. So when the townspeople come out to see what happened, they don't celebrate. Not at all. They see the guy who used to be tormented, and now he's peaceful, he's clothed, he's sane, and they were terrified. Think about that. They were more afraid of the person with the power to heal than they were the man possessed by thousands of demons. And so they begged Jesus to just leave.
So the town rejects Jesus, but the healed man, he wants to follow him. He's begging to get in the boat with him. But Jesus gives him a totally different mission. He tells him to stay behind and become a witness in the very place that had once chained him up.
And just like that, the man who was once the terror of the entire region, he becomes its first missionary. He goes all throughout the 10 cities of the Decapolis, just telling everyone what Jesus had done for him. And it's his testimony, his story of transformation, that actually prepared that whole Gentile region to welcome Jesus when he came back later.
And all of this leaves us with one last, kind of tough question. The community, they could handle a violent madman. They could chain him up and ignore him. What they couldn't handle was a savior whose power totally disrupted their economy and challenged their values. They actually preferred the familiar chaos over the costly, transformative power of freedom. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Do we sometimes fear the cure more than the disease?